Welcome to the Barrel Roll Newscast for July 14th, 2018.
Today we're talking about the Black Widow movie.
We have information about Star Wars 9 with Lando.
More on the Disney Fox deal.
DC's streaming service.
Talking about the Snappening.
And apparently Indiana Jones 5 is coming out. We'll let you know more about that.
Stay tuned. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Barrel Roll Newscast. I'm Nick.
I'm Tony.
I'm Ross.
Our special guest today.
Hello. We're going to be talking about some mostly movie news. In fact, all exclusively movie news. Movie and TV news.
No game stuff this week.
There was some ArenaNet stuff. I don't know how we could have talked about that.
Sure.
It's a very touchy subject, but are we actually officially talking about that? Do you guys want to add that to the...
I have no idea what it is. Sure, go for it.
So what happened with ArenaNet is, if you guys aren't familiar, those are the guys that make Guild Wars and Guild Wars 2. And so Guild Wars 2 is still relatively successful at MMO. You don't have to pay for it online, that kind of stuff. But I guess one of the lead developers, like the story artists,
Was there uncomfortable hugging?
No,
Oh.
it was actually quite the opposite.
It's not one of those stories.
They were talking about something on social media, and
Yeah.
they were fielding some Q&As about how difficult it is to write single player content story for a MMO.
Sure.
And
Makes
literally got into a discussion with some user, and the question was basically the equivalent of, did you try to plug it in, unplug it and plug it back in? It was the equivalent of their question. I can't remember what it was. And so they started having a back and forth and arguing and back and forth. And this, apparently, ArenaNet did not appreciate this and just straight up fired them.
Oh.
They didn't have any sort of reprimanding or any talking to. They literally within, I think, 24 hours or something like that.
Was it a fun back and forth, or was it legit like a...
It was an argument. It was an online debate, but it was, and a little bit I think was targeted because it was a female, and so it was a bit of it's sexist and gender and blah blah. And then so one of her colleagues, who was a male, same department, started backing her up and, hey, you know what? It doesn't matter if if you're female or male. This is the stuff that we work with in this industry, working with single player content, and working on this massively multiplayer online game. Back off. He was also axed as well, out of nowhere. And it literally came down to the discussion on the industry of where social online bullying, when it comes to developers, people who are vocal online, should there be boundaries for this kind of stuff? Because if you get into an argument, that's the internet. I
was gonna say, as long as the argument is...
It's valid, but it literally, apparently his question was the equivalent of, did you unplug it and plug it back in?
Because and I'm good with discussions online. I'm good with arguments as long as it doesn't break down into, name calling and that. Or again, if you're legitimately having a stupid argument online,
Right.
But that's I play Heroes of the Storm, and every once in a while you get these people. It's why aren't you doing your job? Blah blah blah, and they start using words, and you're just what? You can just tell me.
Use normal.
Do this, please.
And so
not only that, but this is a game we're playing for fun. It does not need to devolve to this level.
That's yes.
So it just sucks that you hear stories like that, where especially when the developers and the whole company did not have their back on this.
I think
in this discussion, in this regards.
See, and I guess it depends on company policy.
And it really was company, and apparently ArenaNet didn't really adjust their company policy since 2001, or not 2001, 2010. Sorry. So it's been a while for social
media has come a long way since
very
much.
So.
The amount of presence that these developers have online is just vast. I mean, you look at Fez, the guy who made Fez, Phil Fish or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
He was making Fez 2. He was literally making it the sequel to the. It was a pretty good game.
Sure.
It was all right, but he literally got into an argument online and then just straight canceled Fez 2.
Well,
because he's also he's a little bit of a child. But it's that level of online bullying. Like, you got to take it for what it is and just kind of do your own thing. And on top of that, having a company just kind of straight up saying like, yeah, goodbye.
Someone must have said something. That's the only thing I can think
it's
of.
It's like that debate was, it's hard to find it now because someone had posted something and deleted, and it's...
Yeah, that's a weird one.
And I know... have to look at the details on that one to actually make some kind of judgment on it. You know,
but like
you'd hope that for the most part the company would
reprimand them somehow.
Yeah, reprimand them, like
not straight fire them. Like that's, and especially for someone who's worked with that company since day one, really.
Well, it's okay. They'll just find a job over at Blizzard.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, there's no shortage of requirements for storyboarders and artists and writers in this industry at this point.
Well, and that's like, see, it's funny. Like, that's just an interesting discussion because Warcraft's been pulling stories out of their butt now for ages, and all of their stuff in World of Warcraft is legitimately single player.
Mm-hmm. You can play World of Warcraft by yourself, more or less, right?
More or less.
Like, you still need to get on online raids and stuff like that,
but
you
even
need to.
There's raid finders now,
and that's the thing. You use the raid finder.
So it's not like you have to be friends with people.
You don't have to walk the streets and be like, "Do you want to play World of Warcraft with me?"
Yeah.
All right.
Or even in game anymore, it's not like you have to sit there going like, "I need to go to this dungeon." Like, someone, anyone.
Yeah.
You just go in the dungeon finder and you can legitimately go like, "I need this one, please go."
It's taking.
I think I remember even using that. Like, my time in World of Warcraft did not last very long. I probably only played it for 6 months to a year or something like that. But I remember even like just jumping in the dungeon finder and being like, I don't know, I'm a healer priest. Let's do this.
They do that for the raid finder now too, so you can get into the bigger. Like, they want everybody to enjoy the story content they have created. So now it's just that piece of it. Like, that's a weird discussion to have, that single player content's hard to write for an MMO.
It is.
You write it and pretend that none of the other people running around actually exist.
Let me pull up the story here from The Verge. On July 5th, Guild Wars developer fired 2 employees, Jessica Price and Peter Fries, on their interactions on Twitter with a streamer. The firings were announced on a forum post by ArenaNet president, blah, 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 blah. He characterized their interactions with the streamers as an attacks on the community and later an act of hostility, quote unquote. The aftermath of ArenaNet's actions have rippled through the... Okay, that's just them talking about this stuff. But yeah, the fact that it started with a female developer. And like, Gamergate is done, guys. It's like 2018.
Gamergate should have never freaking happened.
Yeah, like, it's 2018. Like, get over it.
So. Someone must have said something stupid. I get that. Like, my profession, I cannot say certain things to the news. Like, we've had...
Or even social media sometimes.
Even social media. But we've had those things come out where people are discussing something, and they're like, you are not to discuss this. Mm-hmm. Like, in an open... You can go home and talk with your loved ones, you can talk with your friends, but... You know, if a reporter calls you or you put something online, like, you gonna be in trouble. And it's like, all right. Like, seems I get fair. That. Like, we have hired people to deal with that kind of thing, and my opinion is the opinion of one person out of 100,000 employees, and we know how the news can spin.
And you know how it also talks like, hey, how much can you put in your Twitter bio? Like, my views are my own. Like, sure, they're your own, but you're still...
As soon as they're public, like, that's the thing. Free speech is free speech. You can think what you want, you can say what you want, but there are consequences to the things you say. That woman in Lethbridge, or that lady from BC that was in that Denny's and going off and then gets fired. Oh, this isn't fair. I should be able to say what... It's like, you can think whatever you want, but as soon as you say it publicly, because that was a discussion even on Reddit, was like, well, it's her own private opinion. And someone's like, she said it in the middle of a Denny's. It's not private anymore.
Yeah.
Same thing with Roseanne, with all of that stuff happening. Like, you throw it on social media.
It's live.
It's you are now able to be scrutinized. You can say whatever you want. But, so that's my thing. Someone must have...
Yeah.
Someone must have thrown one word in there.
It must have devolved past, like, actual video game development.
Yeah.
More so than anything.
And again, I've seen it happen. Like, you're playing... Like I say, I'm playing a game, and all of a sudden, someone, like... Even someone says something constructive. And all of a sudden, the other person just fires back and starts calling them all these names and this and that and using all these terms, and you're going, like, I don't think you should be talking like
Do you talk to your mom with that mouth?
Well, and that's my thing. I'm okay with swearing. I swear.
Mm-hmm.
I'll even type it out when we're talking on the thingy to play games. Yeah. Whatever. Mm-hmm. If you play Dying Light with Brian, his favorite word is shit. Like, it's cool, but it's not like he's sitting there going like, you guys are all shitheads and you deserve to die and da-da-da-da-da-da, and then excessive, you know, like any word can be bad if you say it in the wrong way.
Exactly.
Well, there's an obvious difference as well between just like swearing in general and
yes.
swearing
it's all about
as an individual.
It's all about context.
Like,
it's all about context.
So that's what I mean. It would be nice to kind of know what those two kind of... Someone must have said something in an attacking type way for them to get canned and not reprimanded.
Did the article say anything if there was like community backlash from it or anything? Because I could also see like a very quick and prompt action if there was a lot of community backlash in regards to it. But if
my understanding is it took place within 48 hours. Like it happened on Monday, they were gone by Wednesday. Gone by Wednesday.
Yeesh.
Well, to be fair, you could say the same thing about Scarlett Johansson taking and then leaving.
We were talking about that before as a thing because. So that story is Scarlett Johansson took a. It's not even our. We'll just go with extra stuff before we start action movies. But
keep going. Continue.
Scarlett Johansson took a role in.
I forget the movie.
Robin Tug.
Yeah, Robin Tug.
So
playing a transgender character.
Yeah, so it's the story of a person going from female to male, I believe. Right. And the backlash was they want a transgender actor to play that part because they're tired of these non-LGBTQ plus people getting these roles.
Do you know any other than Caitlyn Jenner?
But athlete, not actor.
Yeah, like,
not actress, not like
anyone.
That's my thing. So I'm sitting there, and even the internet goes, so Scarlett Johansson being in your movie would have meant people would have actually gone to see your movie. Now you're gonna get some no-name, like just starting their career actor, and your movie's not gonna get any leverage, any kick, any like. So
I think the part of the discussion was that the Ghost in the Shell movie that she was part of.
That's part of it.
Where it was supposed to be an Asian character.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what? It's Scarlett Johansson.
And I get the whitewashing piece of things in Hollywood because yes, we have to tone that down for some of these things. Like some of the best movies are like even they said with Star Wars Episode 7. If you watch the background, even all the actors back there, like you can see diversity, which just adds to the whole immersion thing. Disney got in trouble because their Aladdin live-action movie, they couldn't find enough East Indian people to fill out the background, so they had to, like, paint people's faces and put them further back. So there's a bunch of white people really far back in Agrabah.
Okay.
But they have, like,
blackface.
Not black,
brown
face.
Brown faces.
So, and they're like, wow, how could you do that? You should be hiring and they're like, we can't find enough. Like, we put it out there. But yeah, so that kind of stuff happens. But this one's just odd to me.
Well, and like going back to where this discussion came from, like the immediate community backlash on it,
yes,
is something where I can see, okay, decisive action needs to be made and it needs to be made quick.
Yeah.
So like if that was the case for this
ArenaNet.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If that was the case for the ArenaNet,
sure,
that would
I can
make
see
sense.
them. Yep.
Yeah,
but yeah,
there's going to be probably discussions that we will never hear about.
Probably.
Like behind closed doors, it's like we got to let you go because this is happening.
Yeah.
And then from whatever else.
Yeah, the Scarlett Johansson one made me kind of.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that.
Because in my thought process too, it's like we would love to hire someone, but we'd also like this story. Like this is the news press you release is as much as we would love to hire someone who is a transgender actor, we find that the story will gain more traction if we hire a name, someone like.
Oh yeah, like it's a smart business move.
Yeah.
That's why. Let's be honest. At the end of the day, it's about making money, and Scarlett Johansson's a name that will sell tickets.
Yep.
And going back to even further with the Doctor Strange stuff with the Ancient One, like you didn't want to see the original Ancient One.
No, that would have been so
Are you
much
sure,
more
Tony?
racially inappropriate.
Pretty good.
Are you absolutely sure you don't want to see that?
Unless it was me doing it.
Our options here are either we need to completely change the role or we need to make it the most stereotypically Chinese character we can.
Yeah.
Like,
Go back to like the Siamese cats from Lady and the Tramp sort of thing.
Like, we don't have a good option here. Let's go with
the least
Tilda
offensive
Swinton.
option.
And in all honesty, Tilda Swinton is a weird person altogether. Like,
also, I thought she killed the role.
I thought she crushed it.
She did.
They're like, why? You know, instead of going with that stereotypical, what did we? Breakfast at Tiffany's. If you ever watched that, Mickey Rooney, who or not Mickey Rooney. Yeah, Mickey Rooney plays the upstairs guy who owns the building that Audrey Hepburn lives in. And she's always buzzing him because she forgets her key. Well, he's Asian. Well, Mickey Rooney, clearly not Asian, but yeah, he's got the big false teeth in, and he's always like, it is bad. And at the time,
it was comedy.
Whatever. And that's the whole shtick is they got a guy who was good with comedy to play the thing, but like he comes to the stage, I swear to you, if you do this, and you're like, oh.
Does not fly nowadays.
No. So you sit there going, is that what you wanted for the Asian one? Or Tilda Swinton? Because I prefer Tilda Swinton.
I would take
Tilda Swinton. You 100% could have gotten Carrie Hiroyuki Tagawa on it and put a Fu Manchu on him and made him the ancient one, but
I don't think that would have played well on screen, to be honest.
Well, and you have to think about it. They're trying to sell tickets in Asia.
Mm-hmm. Also, Carrie Hiroyuki Tagawa always plays well on screen. So.
And you could have changed the character to be more of like...
They just reshot that entire movie and put it back into China with a different actor, not Tilda Swinton.
Yeah, I love the backlash on that one, and I'm like, but they got a female actress to... Like, it's still a...
It's pretty out there.
It's an out there kind of thought process for what Hollywood would normally do.
It's true. And it also puts like a really weird twist on the backlash. It's like, so
you're sexist is what
you don't want females to have more roles in film?
No, they want Asian people to have more roles in films. That is the discussion that like George Takei always is on about. Is like, Asian people deserve more screen time. It's like, they do, but appropriate screen time. I'm pretty sure if they would have written that part as the stereotypical Asian guy, people would have been pissed.
Have you not seen The Dictator? Come on.
But that's, I don't know. That's the casting stuff's always been weird to me. It's even like, Friends got in trouble ages ago for not having one of the friends should have been black. And I'm like, all right.
I'll be honest. Watching that as a kid, never crossed my mind.
Never crossed my mind.
It's like, oh, that's just white guys.
You know what made this show better? If one of them wasn't white.
No.
And that's where a lot of TV that's where all this, that's where a lot of this backlash is with some of that. The whitewashing piece is like, well, this character should have been this, and it's like,
well, you look at something like How I Met Your Mother, like even the core cast, all white.
And that's my thought process, but imagine
it still works because there's supplementary characters.
There are
is what you're looking at as well. Like you can't just take it for like as a whole, right? Or as a little bit. You got to watch the whole thing.
Yeah. And again, the right people for those roles got those jobs.
Yeah.
Like How I Met Your Mother would be a very different show if one of the why can't I think of their names? Wayans brothers got like the job of Marshall.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't work. The Wayans brothers are funny doing what they do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's always my shtick with that kind of stuff. I'm like, I feel like if the right people get the right roles, we're good.
And if it doesn't work, then the show's gonna get axed.
Correct.
Like people get their just desserts. It's gonna come back, right?
Yeah. So,
and then you get Brooklyn Nine-Nine with tons of diversity, and it's awesome because all of those actors fit those characters super well.
And that's my thing. I love that show with that kind of stuff because it's just like they've nailed it. But again, you replace Rosa with someone else, like a different actress. It doesn't work.
No,
like they built that character for that person.
If anything, they started carving those characters for themselves.
But they 100%. Did. If you actually look at a lot of the backstories, like Jake and Gina being friends since childhood, legitimately in real life, those two went to school together.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of that stuff is actually
neat.
They're like, oh, Rose is bi in real life. Let's throw it into the show.
Let's figure that out.
She got a bunch of backlash too because she's marrying a dude.
So what?
That's what most of the internet says, but there's a small portion going, I thought you were bi, and she goes,
Yes.
I am. Well, you're marrying a man. She goes,
So
right,
That's one of the
I like,
two
I like the two options.
What's my third option?
She's not supposed to get married, okay?
Oh.
She's supposed to just keep,
Strong-willed, strong female character.
They just want
So,
to end up with Jade the Virgin, that's all.
I'm still okay with that.
Shall we move on to the
Yes,
board?
let's actually move on to the board.
We got stuff to talk about.
Speaking of females in movies, Black Widow's getting her own flick.
Yes.
With a
and
director.
Director Kate
Land.
Shortland? I don't know what she's done.
Stuff, because apparently Scarlett Johansson was, like, specifically wanted her.
Oh.
Okay.
That is the news, is, like, Scarlett Johansson's like, that one! Out of the list of 100 directors they brought in to, like,
Well, you know,
talk about a film.
I really don't think that anyone other than Scarlett Johansson has a better grasp of who should do it. She's been playing the character in
like
9
9 years,
7, 8 movies.
Yeah.
9
now.
years
Like,
or now, 9
she
years
knows,
or so.
She knows the character. I imagine she's read the script. She probably has the best idea.
She's probably helped written the script.
Oh, probably.
If the coolest part to watching a bunch of their interviews and the Comic-Cons and all that stuff with these characters is the Russo brothers and Joss Whedon and anybody who's directed these movies is really down with letting the actors be a part of the character growth. Like, where do you think Black Widow would go? You're the one that's got to be in that headspace.
I read that with Thor Ragnarok that about 90% of that movie was improv.
That's not surprising for me. Yeah.
Well, also with Taika, that does not surprise me. But like the amount of improv that they let their character, like all Marvel movies do, it's insane. Like you'd be surprised how much. What was it? The second Captain America one, Winter Soldier. Yeah, like that was a lot of that was also improvised, other than action sequences.
Yeah, but and that's just the piece of it where, and again, Thor got a really good character arc to come into Infinity War with. Like the Thor we got in Infinity War was like 8,000 times better than what we got from Thor 1.
Dark World.
Yes.
Thor 1 was good because it was the introduction of fish out of water Thor.
Dark World.
Dark World, I think, was just...
Dark World, I really liked Loki's arc in that.
Yeah.
Yes, Loki was great.
That actually is what, for me, made it a little bit better than the first Thor, because let's be honest, both of those movies are among the weakest in the MCU. Mm-hmm. But, like, for me, what made the first Thor was definitely the character of Thor in Midgard now.
I wish for more.
Exactly. All of those scenes where Thor's just being a dude on Earth is hilarious.
I want to be one big enough to ride.
That line, probably improv.
See, and the funniest part is like, I think Thor 3 really broke a lot of the... Like, you find, or even Infinity War broke a lot of stuff where it's like, you speak Groot, and he's like, oh yeah, it was like an elective or whatever. And I'm like, so you can speak Groot, but you don't know that there's not cats and dogs big enough on Earth that, like, you can't ride one from a pet. Just, like, there's some weird...
Yeah, but that's all on Earth, though. He probably has seen dogs you can ride.
Probably.
He's probably seen the cats. Oh, God. Oh, we don't. What's that? What's that? They I think they got snapped.
Yeah, probably. That's how they write out that.
And they just never came back.
We'll get there.
But yeah, like, they're so part of their characters now and part of that character development. I think it is important that Scarlett Johansson does have a say, going like, she'll be good to make this movie, and she did specifically want a female directing.
And even if you look beyond the MCU, you look at Deadpool with Ryan Reynolds. Same thing.
Oh yeah,
sure. Same thing. Like that is, he might as well just have directed his own movie.
Honestly, and like I said, with the Fox Disney merger thing happening, I really just want Ryan Reynolds to be in charge of the X-Men crap.
It's not a bad call.
Or like,
at least a creative consultant of some kind.
A consultant, but still in charge of Deadpool anyway.
Because like, you've seen Deadpool 2?
Yes.
Like Juggernaut in that movie.
That was Juggernaut. That was Juggernaut.
Colossus is Colossus. Like,
whoever made the trailer decisions for Deadpool 2 should be in charge of all trailers for history.
You mean not giving away
anything,
any plot points that are important to the entire film,
but still giving a really good feel for what you're gonna get out of the movie, and even like throwing in red herrings where it was like, based on the trailer, I was not expecting any of that.
Right. So you haven't seen Solo yet?
No.
Okay, so I'm not going to say anything about the movie other than the fact that the trailer does not do that movie justice.
Which
is the entire problem with that marketing campaign is Like, I watched that and I go, he is not Han Solo. Like,
but then you know what? In the second trailer, I could kind of see it a little bit more,
and then
I was like,
I saw an extended piece of the trailer where they're doing that whole back and forth about like how old Chewie is.
Yeah,
like, that piece.
I think that's the part that kind of.
But there's an extended part to that I saw online before I saw the movie, and I went, "That's Han Solo." Like, Ron Howard, when they got the like actor in to try and like help him become more Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Clearly helped. But they didn't show any of that in the trailer, and I'm like, you don't feel like...
I think it was just rushed for that movie.
Everything was rushed on that movie, which is unfortunate, because Ron Howard, I think, did a really good job saving that film. Like, having to refilm 80% of the thing.
Yeah.
But
I'm seeing that
later today.
There you go.
It's
so,
really fun.
Like I say, like
it's good. It's a fun movie.
I went in with low expectations, because I just... and I was happily surprised by it.
There was good twists. There was good story pieces.
Confirm nor deny anything.
Yes.
Like, I don't want to know anything.
No.
For me, my hope going into this movie is little to no influence from the Force, because going into the original trilogy, like Han Solo always thought that the Force was just a fairy tale that doesn't exist. So that's what I'm hoping to see here.
If anything, it's just a heist movie.
Ron Howard does a really good job of making sure that things connect.
Yes.
And you'll be pleasantly surprised by, I think, Childish Gambino. Either way, we can get off that topic so we don't spoil anything for you.
Speaking of Childish Gambino.
Yeah, hey, Lando.
So the original actor for Lando from the original trilogy has been signed on for Star Wars 9.
It's about time.
It sounds about...
We're bringing everybody else back. Come on.
Yeah.
Bring back the one black guy.
He's gonna come in like, where's Solo? Where's Han? Where's Han?
To be fair, though, if they didn't save Lando for the 9th one, who else would they have brought back for 9? They wouldn't have had anyone new that was worth anything.
Hamill's character is done. Like
he's not done. He's gonna ghost his way back
somehow. But obviously Solo's gone. Although apparently rumors are that he's still on set filming scenes for Episode 9.
Could be flashback or something.
Could be flashbacks, but we don't. It's
if it helps. There's an insider that says there are 9 Star Wars movies in development right now.
Oh God!
Why?
Well, a lot of them like named movies. So like we're getting, we got Solo. We're gonna get Kenobi. We're gonna get like Fett.
The Boba story.
They better not call it Fett.
the Fett story. The Fett story.
I still don't want a Boba Fett movie.
You know what? I will be super down with a Boba Fett movie if we get to see more of the Boba Fett from the Clone Wars series.
Yes,
sure.
Because, like, let's be honest, he's probably the most popular character in history that did jack all.
Yep. And I think that's the thing with Boba Fett is, like, don't give too much away.
But then in the Clone Wars, you actually get to see, like, albeit a younger Boba Fett, but one that actually lives up to the hype.
Yeah.
You see this,
you barely see
16-year-old kid going around and, like, leading a mercenary group and doing cool heist stuff and merc jobs, and it's like, this is the Boba Fett everyone loves.
Yeah. Hey, Pancake.
Hi.
Pull your part of the wall just to... Oh, no, you're good. You're good.
So I'd love to see more of that. If it was...
And that's my biggest thing with a Boba Fett movie. Depends on what they do.
Yeah.
Kenobi, I'm down with pretty much more Ewan McGregor. As long as it's Ewan McGregor. Because the big thing online is they want Chris Pratt to play Obi-Wan Kenobi.
No.
And it's like, no.
Ewan McGregor's already here.
He's that age. He's the right age.
He's the right age to play an older Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, yeah. It's almost like they have an actor.
Yeah.
Who would probably do the part for, it's not like the budget is a big thing to worry about. Even though Solo is down $50 million.
We don't talk about that one, apparently.
But
that part of it.
It has now reached $200 million worldwide.
That's okay. It's about to go up to like 200 million
and $10. Plus $10. Plus $10.
Yeah.
There's 3 of us going, so...
Oh, so there you go.
Oh, good.
It'll be like plus $35 or so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Star Wars 9.
Star Wars 9, Lando's back.
The actor Billy D or something, is that his name? Billy something D.
Billy D. Williams.
Yeah, that's the one.
His last name is eluding me, but he's... Yes.
I think that's the right move. I mean...
I'm assuming we're going to get some kind of Leia funeral. And
I would be not... I actually heard a rumor that they're not going to kill her off in the movies.
Yeah, well, they brought her back for Rogue One, so...
Well, they said they aren't going to CGI her in.
Right.
Out of respect for Carrie Fisher,
but like
they're not
going to kill...
I don't think they're going to kill her on screen.
Like just
no, she's not
an off-screen character kind of thing?
Yeah, keep her as an off-screen character. That's what I had heard. Like, they're not going to kill...
That'd be weird, though.
Yeah, like, how would you...
Yeah, not having Leia as it's like, oh, Leia wants us to do this, and it's like, then why isn't Leia telling me?
Yeah.
She has me on speed dial.
Unless they still have a little bit of footage that they can, like...
But then, if you're going to do that, I feel like that's doing her a disservice.
Well, no, she
Is it
acted
though?
the
Like,
scenes.
if she already did the scenes, because, like, obviously you saw in Last Jedi they used scenes that were shot for The Force Awakens in the flashback scenes.
That's true.
Because, you know, you saw those scenes in the trailers, and then everyone was like, that never happened in the movie.
Yeah.
And then it happened in the second one.
Yes.
So
but
if
that's what I
they
had
wanted
heard.
to film extra stuff, that wouldn't be too bad.
And it would just be
as long as it fits. And I mean, J.J. Abrams is back at the helm, so we'll see what happens.
I just want them to actually do something with the Knights of Ren. I'm fine with them.
I know.
I'm fine with them
long?
saving the reveal for the third
final,
movie of the
final
trilogy. Like,
act,
that doesn't bug me at all. It's like, I know that there's been a lot of backlash on The Last Jedi and people not being
appreciated it.
happy, especially with Luke's arc, and I think we ran over this the last time I was here as well. But like, I liked the movie.
Yeah,
I thought Luke's arc
it was
good.
service. It was fine.
I'm looking forward to the 9th one.
Was it amazing? I don't think it was like the best Star Wars movie of all time, but
I like how people call it.
It's not Empire.
I like how people call it campy and, you know, not well written and this and that and everything. And I'm like, have you seen the other Star Wars films? Because
let's be fair, as far as the campy goes, if they just got rid of the casino scene, like 90% of the camp would be gone.
No.
I think what someone said perfectly was...
you replace the animals with pot racers.
That's exactly what someone said.
Just have that one tie into episode 1.
Yep.
I'd be totally happy with that.
Well, because then that kid with the Force at the end would make a lot of sense all of a sudden if there's, you know, the racing going around. You're like,
a racer.
Oh, that's why he's so good at it. That makes sense now.
It's a nod to the first one.
Yeah. I feel like now that Kylo's kind of in charge of stuff, though, we are going to get the Knights of Ren in the last.
We better.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
After all that teasing of, like...
Well, and they still teased it in Last Jedi, too. So, like, obviously, it wasn't an idea that they came up with for The Force Awakens and were just like, you know what, that was stupid, we're getting rid of it. They kept teasing it more, so we've got to see it.
There must be some master plan for that.
There is, and honestly, we know that they're following it because they fired 2 directors off of Solo because they weren't doing the movie appropriately. Like, that's why Ron Howard ended up getting the... And last minute, the movie was done. Like, they filmed an entire film and got fired. And then brought Ron Howard in and went, whatever you need.
Yeah.
Fix.
Like, we'll do it. Because it's like, well, we've already spent $150 million on this. And he's like, I'm going to need like $200 million more. And they're like, okay.
We need to bring Harrison Ford in to do some acting lessons for him.
We just need Harrison here. So
Here's a check from Disney.
Yeah.
It won't bounce.
However many zeros you want to put, I'm sure Comcast won't be able to.
Speaking of, the Fox Disney deal is essentially not that far away now.
End of the month.
The vote goes through at the end of the month, so in another week, the shareholders at Fox vote as to whether they're going to sell to Disney
as a group.
Okay.
So if you own shares on Fox,
now to be fair, the Murdochs own the majority of the shares.
Yes.
So if the Murdochs are like, yes, Disney, take our stuff.
Yeah, it's just a formality.
It really is at this point, except for one shareholder
who wants to use
where everybody online assumes has Comcast stock because he is suing Fox for unfair trading.
If you owned shares of Comcast and tried to do a lawsuit, wouldn't that be like a conflict of interest?
Yeah, so that's why everybody figures somewhere along the line he has some interest in Comcast, because otherwise, Disney at this point is legitimately offering, like, if you're a shareholder, we will buy your shares or whatever, or, you know, we'll buy the company.
Mm-hmm.
You will get stock in Disney or cash. You get to pick.
Yeah.
Which is the best case scenario.
At this point, you get to pick. So it's not like this guy's even going, I wanted the cash deal from Comcast. It's legitimately like, you can have either or, and you'd be stupid not to take Disney stock at this point. But
it's only going to go up.
Well, and I think that, like, the cash value was also higher than what they were offering shares at. So you could take, like, a bunch of money in cash and then use it to buy a bunch of, like, more shares or something. I don't know.
And the thing is, like... you can get taxed on cash. You can't get taxed on shares.
Well, you can get taxed on shares once you sell them. But
Correct.
you can
If you
sell them,
but like it
slowly.
This is one share.
Yes.
You can't tax me on a piece of paper, right?
Correct.
So that's the idea.
So in my mind, like, so either way, this guy's trying to stop the whole deal by saying it's unfair because Fox is pretty much accepting a lower offer from Disney because they're friends with Disney and not taking the higher offer from Comcast, even though the Disney deal is higher than, like, all around Disney is offering like an extra $15 billion on top of what Comcast.
Like,
well, and I think what I read was that the Comcast deal was cash only. That's your only option. So this way, the shareholders have options as to how they want cash only. Then that's fine.
Like, if they want shares,
these are rich people. They might not necessarily want the cash only shares in a company that's,
and that's what the Murdochs want is stock.
Let's be honestly, buying up the entire entertainment industry.
40% after this one. And like I keep saying, because people online are really scared about that. They're like, Disney has this monopoly, and they already bully theaters into stuff. Like there's some drive-ins out east in Canada that are like, well, we can't get Disney movies because a drive-in is only open like on the weekend, for instance, so it's a Saturday, Sunday shtick. Disney, if you're going to get Star Wars, you have to have it run for 3 weeks on so many screens. And they're like, well, we can't do that because if we show the same movie for 3 weeks, no one's going to come to see drive-in movies. And I'm like, then you don't get to show Disney movies.
Yeah.
Sorry.
This is business.
Yes.
Unfortunately,
it's
and he decided to
open
up a drive-in which is outdated by like 30 years.
Or
don't get me
have
wrong,
it
the
open all
novelty's
the time.
great.
Oh yeah,
but don't bank on showing Disney movies.
Well, and it's
show other films.
Well, it's like Metro Cinemas here in Edmonton. You know, you're not gonna be going to the Garneau and seeing Solo or Infinity War.
I don't go to the Garneau for those kinds.
Go to the Garneau for like the Sundance films and stuff.
You see your black and white films.
You don't get to see in the main theaters.
Yeah. See now, like my wife and I went to a drive-in in Ontario when we went last year, 2 years.
Was that year?
I don't know.
Yes.
Either way, we went because we were like looking at stuff to do because we didn't go we didn't Toronto, we were in like Sarnia area, so
that sounds like Narnia.
Small town like Ontario sort of thing, and we're looking stuff up and it's like there's a drive-in, so it's legitimately like part of a farmer's field.
Yeah,
and they had 2 screens, so they still had 2 screens. One was smaller, one was bigger. So they had, and it was a double feature night. So you went in and it was like $10 a ticket. You got 2 movies.
Okay, that's fair.
So the one movie we went to see Secret Life of Pets. And then the movie after that was Independence Day, Resurrection or whatever, the second
new one.
Yeah. And my wife's not into the aliens and end of the world movies and all that kind of stuff. Like it, she's just not. So I'm like, well, we're good. We saw Secret Life of Pets. Let's go. Well, everybody started leaving the Independence Day one. Or it was like that was the plan. Like a bunch of people were hopping in their cars and packing stuff up. And pancake. Yeah, she does this.
I think it's that seat.
It must be that seat. But people started packing up and leaving there like, and then whatever had shown on the other screen had switched to Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates, and it was the bigger screen.
Okay.
By far.
Yeah.
And people were leaving that one. They're like, if you guys just want to switch, like, you guys can. Like, it's all good. So we went and watched Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates because that's a much better date movie than Independence Day. So we went to see that. But it's like, they had movies, and they had 2 screens. If you want to run a drive-in movie theater, one, make sure it doesn't snow where you are.
Yeah. Alberta.
Right, like we couldn't have a full-time drive-in.
95% of Canada.
Yeah. But
or rain.
Rain
you could manage.
Rain you could probably manage. But like that's the shtick is if you're running an outdoor movie theater, you have to have multiple screens.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be a movie theater essentially, but outside. And you have to know there's risks, and you have to know that there's you're not going to get the same benefits as the Cineplexes that have 16 screens and D boxes and this and that and everything
3D
else.
and
well, but
do they have 3D in
no.
drive-in? Yeah, exactly. The screens aren't meant for that, right?
Yeah, but 3D movies are slowly going.
Not really.
Yeah, they are.
Yep.
I haven't found.
There's less and less of them.
I mean, my landmark cinema experience has been only 2D so far, so but only because they don't do 3D in general.
But that's what I'm saying. So like, yes, Disney owns a lot, but like I keep saying, if Disney started just phoning in every movie they did, animated this, that, and everything else, people would stop seeing their movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, they have a monopoly. I'm like, no, monopoly means own everything. They don't.
Not yet.
Not yet.
They're getting there.
If they
giving
absorb
it a solid effort, but
if they absorb Illumination, animation company, then
had they bought in Sony, that would have been a different story.
Sony, I believe, was going to do, the last time I heard before the Emoji Movie came out, was they were going to pretty much do like a garage sale.
Yeah.
So sell off. They were just going to stop making movies, so they were just going to put all their properties up for sale, but like piecemeal, not like Fox, where it's like, do you want all of the stuff?
Yeah.
How much of this can you legally take?
And that's Sony's was essentially going to be like, we're going to sell off our movie division, but piece by piece, but we're going to make it worth more after the Emoji Movie comes out, because that will raise our that will raise the price of our film unit. And it's like,
it didn't.
No,
it didn't.
I have to say, just quickly going back to the whole drive-in theater thing.
Yes.
If I had an opportunity to see Twister in the drive-in, I would take that so fast.
See, and that's my shtick. As a drive-in movie theater, you can be selective with your movies in that way.
Yeah.
Show old stuff. Like, the projectors are digital. Don't tell me you can't hook up an HDMI cord to a laptop that's going to play, Twister.
You can do it.
You can do it.
Yeah. If you can't currently do it, you can buy a device that'll let you do it.
Yes. So that's my shtick is like, yeah, if you own a drive-in, stop complaining you can't show Star Wars. I don't care about going to see Star Wars. I'm there for the drive-in movie.
Also, I don't know that I would enjoy Star Wars, my first experience of Star Wars, in a drive-in either.
I would not.
I don't think the quality would be as high.
No,
there's no way it could.
No.
Like Secret Life of Pets was cute. Mike and Dave Need Wedding Date's cute because again we went for like a date night.
You don't want anything with a lot of like marquee action sequences.
And again, the sound you're getting is off of your car stereo. So
it's not theater quality.
Like if I drive the van, it's not like we're getting surround.
I'm not
sound.
saying that my car seat is bad, but a theater seat a little more comfortable.
See, and the thing with the car, because like we had obviously rented a car, but we reclined the seats back. We had food in the car. Like we were set. It was quite nice. You can bring the launch.
Kicking your seat.
Yeah,
yes, that's true.
Like that's the thing is like you can literally lie down because the screen's up there and watch through the windshield. Put your feet up on the dash. Like it was kind of cool. But again, it's the experience. Yeah. It's not the movies we saw there.
Exactly.
So, if you're running that kind of business, run it properly.
Man, old movies would make a
killing.
They do.
Sure.
I'm sure
you're charging $10 a ticket
like,
for Twister.
Oh man, people would go to that.
I mean,
or like
you see the
Terminator or Terminator 2.
You see the one where the guys set the projector up on a floating like buoy, and they were showing Jaws, and the only way to watch it was on little like life rafts. Or
that would be cool.
And they were filming Jaws on a beach.
Because we even do that in like our city, and they're not doing it right now because our Churchill Square is under construction.
There's nothing there.
But yeah, they do movies on the square.
Yeah, those are very popular.
Big inflatable screen, bring a lawn chair, sit down, watch a movie, and it's like, And I mean, that's a free event, so it works out because then they can show whatever movies they want to because like you don't have to get the rights to show the movies. But yeah, the rights to show old movies is easy enough. Theaters do it all the time. But yeah, like go to the drive-in, watch, some of the really old horror movies that are really bad.
Black and white.
Some black and white flicks. Like, go kitschy with it, because that's the whole point to a drive-in anyways. It's not like the drive-in is the only way to go see the movie. But yeah, people are complaining because Disney's like, they own too much.
They do, but...
Again, I don't mind, because they keep pumping out quality junk.
Last Dinosaur. We don't talk about that one.
It was still really well animated. That movie was gorgeous. So. The Last Dinosaur. Or The Good Dinosaur.
The Good Dinosaur.
I never saw it.
You're not.
So
do you like Lion King?
We can skip past.
It's the Lion King.
It's Lion King.
Instead of like wildebeest running down a hill,
it's
water that kills the dad, and then he ends up on his own and has to, and then meets an unlikely ally.
Oh, and then he has a drug trip a bit. That was probably the best part of that movie.
But all honesty, like, the animation was.
It was Pixar.
Gorgeous,
it looks great.
But it went through like 12 directors and a bunch of rewrites. So.
Cool. Does that mean that The Lion King was actually just a rehash of Land Before Time?
No, it was Macbeth.
Yeah, I guess it was more Macbeth.
So does that make
they went Shakespeare on that one. Yeah. So does that mean The Land Before Time was Macbeth?
Yeah. Not quite. They weren't. Not quite.
Moving on.
Yes.
Moving on to other comic book stuff. DC has their streaming service starting sometime soon.
You can pre-register
if you are not in Canada, basically, because we don't get it in Canada.
So it's only the U.S. right now.
It's only the U.S. And so the big thing is that you can watch all of their straight-to-DVD superhero movies. So like the Superman, the Death of Superman, All-Star.
All their animated flicks.
All the animated stuff, Suicide Squad. Those are all really, really good. You can watch them now. Will be available, surely, watching them there. But the big catch is that a lot of their exclusive TV action show stuff, like the Titans TV shows coming out, exclusively there. Apparently there's a new Harley Quinn cartoon series that's going to be exclusively on this DC streaming service. A Swamp Thing TV show. Of all things to be...
Swamp Thing drama!
Perfect.
Weird. Like, don't get me wrong.
Nothing about Swamp Thing.
I'm okay with the character, but like...
the nature?
Yeah.
He's like the Lorax, but grosser.
He looks like a ball of snot. A walking ball of snot.
I've seen the character.
Yeah.
Right. But either way, like, that's...
Lorax.
And so DC is exclusively doing this online. I don't know. I think it's a really cool idea for them, but...
So essentially,
they've got the material for it.
You also get comic books involved, so you can get like a digital library of comics.
Okay.
Piece of it, because that was my thing. I'm like, how much do you charge for your... You know, I like the Batman animated series, but if the monthly fee is going to be huge...
I'm thinking like $15.
For this?
15 US. I can see 15.
Then I'm not going in, because that's outrageous. Netflix isn't even that much.
No. Yeah, no.
So that's my thing.
I totally get it. I understand it.
But if there's a digital content of comics,
right, because
both new and old,
they're very much touting this whole. You can watch it on any platform and any like on your smartphone, on your web browser, on.
Because to be fair,
PS4, Xbox.
Every once in a while, I subscribe to Marvel Unlimited.
Catch up on some stuff.
Unsubscribe.
This is very much
6 months.
Yeah.
This is very much their take on Disney's streaming service because Disney's starting theirs.
Disney's waiting till they own all those Fox things
correct
on their streaming service.
So this is DC.
Once that happens, I'm going to see how much the price is, and I might be subscribing.
Right, like
I'm honestly more surprised to see where it's going to be available because if they pick up Hulu from this, Hulu's only in America. Like,
but they already own a part of Hulu. Disney, it's who they've sold the rights to in other countries.
Right.
So like right now, Netflix has the rights in Canada to show stuff.
Right.
But I think Disney owns most of
their
stuff. Like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, for instance, is a TV show.
Yeah.
Yes, because it doesn't air here on Fox. Unless you get Fox as part of your cable package, and then you're getting Fox out of, Spokane or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Here it airs on Global or CTV, like one of our networks.
Local networks, yeah.
Because they've sold the rights to that network. That network then can sell the rights to Crave or Netflix or whoever. So I think Disney goes like, no, this is our stuff. We own it. We can let anybody we want have the rights to show it. So when they start their own, they'll just be like, bye, Netflix.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see because they own a lot more than people realize.
Especially if once this Fox thing goes through, then they own Aliens, Predators,
Family
Simpsons,
Guy,
Family Guy, like
American Dad. It's Bob's Burgers.
Is that Fox? I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of the Fox lineup.
Yeah.
American Dad. I'm not sure if American Dad is.
I never understood the difference between like who owns American Dad and who owns Family Guy.
Someone else does. Because they canceled it on Fox and it's on like Comedy Network or something.
Oh, you're right.
I don't know anymore.
Yeah, this Disney streaming thing or this DC stuff was definitely a response to the Disney one.
Except, and I get it because DC's animated stuff is.
Their stuff is pretty awesome.
I don't know why they don't have those people writing their live action movies, but whatever.
That's too good of an idea. It didn't hit the pinboard.
All right. Hire bad writers. Good job.
Perfect.
What's an origin story? All origin stories in one movie.
They didn't even do origin. They redid Batman's and skipped over like all the other ones.
Flash origin story.
Who needs it? We'll show Batman's again. Because no one knows how Batman became Batman.
Probably got bitten by a radioactive bat.
No, he was the only person from his planet that got sent to Gotham.
I don't got bit by a radioactive bat.
Yes! Oh, yes. Let's workshop this.
The new Titans show does look good.
Yeah, the actor seems fine.
But they're actually spending money on making the costumes look legit and that kind of stuff.
I don't think it... Does it still factor in with the rest of the Arrowverse stuff? I don't even keep track of that anymore.
Well, the Arrowverse is super broken now. It's a show that started off as like, oh my god, they're doing, TV superheroes the right way. They've now completely...
Even Flash, they've lost me.
Yeah.
Like, as much as I love Flash...
Legends of Tomorrow is now the peak, like...
Yeah, if that's show. Your best character show, and they're not even, like, an actual...
I haven't watched any of them.
So Arrow started off as, like, the telling of, Arrow.
I heard Arrow was actually good, at least at the beginning.
At the beginning, it was amazing, and now there's this whole, like...
He's now the mayor, and he's like, oh...
And I'm okay with that piece of it, too. Like, Oliver Queen is supposed to be... the rich,
eccentric billionaire.
He's
Batman.
Well, in this one they really tried to make him Batman because they couldn't do a Batman TV show, so they did the next best thing.
Until they name dropped Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, but like the one girl in the show is his hacker friend, like his hacker girlfriend or whatever, and Felicity everybody wants them together. And everybody's like, but he's married to Black Canary. Like in the comics, like him and Black Canary are together, and they keep killing off whoever the Black Canary is in the show.
They brought her back.
I know. Oh. But then she comes, she goes. And they're like, they're the ones that end up together. But they keep sticking him with the other chick. And they're like, there's comics! You guys were doing so good. And then you're like, who needs these anymore?
The Flash did okay in terms of keeping him and Iris together. There were seasons where they were not going to get together.
I know. And that's my problem with a lot of TV, which is, again, I look at Brooklyn Nine-Nine and go, see? They did the will, they won't, they will, they won't, they. But they came up with good reasons for the not they.
Mm-hmm.
And then now they're together. Done. It has not changed the show in any dramatic... Like, it's not like I'm like, oh, I don't want to watch the show. They're together. What's the point? Because they were telling good stories.
I'd be interested to see what the
reception
is towards Black Lightning. Because I heard that one was okay.
It's apparently a really good show.
Still not part of the regular Arrowverse, even though they keep promoting it as next to the Arrowverse.
Yeah.
Same thing with Supergirl.
She's just in a different dimension. When they need her, the Flash just runs really fast.
Yeah, basically. That's literally their like plot hole.
They don't even MacGuffin it anymore. She just shows up.
No,
and
it's
she's like, well, Barry came to get me, and you're like,
no, it's the other guy. The other guy with the
oh yes,
Cisco.
Yes,
it's Cisco that. He's the plot device for every other character in their universe.
But, like, they don't even show it anymore. All of a sudden, Supergirl's just there. Yeah. She's like, hey, guys, here to help. And it's
like every season, they have this one massive crossover between all these shows. And it's literally Cisco opening up portals between dimensions. Like, you, and you, and you. Oh, those guys are time travelers? We'll write a note here for them. And they'll come here right now.
I don't know. It's a... Oh, the wall.
Ah, no.
Hey, they didn't hit the camera.
Good job.
Either way, yes, DC Universe streaming, it better be
something
cheap. That's my thing.
I'm thinking $15 US. That is my thought.
I'm trying to think of how much Marvel Unlimited is
it's usually $9.
I think it's $9-10.
Yeah, $9-10.
Really?
Yeah. Which is pretty good. They've got a huge back catalog.
And that's the trick: is if the back catalog of comics is big enough, that'll be a big enough draw for a lot of people.
On top of the TV shows.
On top of the TV shows. Because I'm not buying into this for their new TV stuff.
No.
So it's kind of a question of, is the price point going to be reflected in, is this a TV streaming service that has access to some comic back catalog, or is this a huge comic back catalog service
that
also
has
got
access some cool TV shows?
I think it's the first thing.
I think it is.
They're very much pushing this Titan stuff. They're pushing the Harley Quinn TV show. And
there's also
Swamp Thing drama.
There's only merchandise you can buy.
Depending on the size of the back catalog,
yes,
where the actual sales go might end up being people are buying it for the back catalog.
Ah! Yeah, that's what happens, dog. The magic. You ruined the magic.
Now everybody knows.
Now everybody knows it's fake.
We might as well just turn that off.
So yeah, like,
interested to see, but
I'm interested in the price point of that.
Yeah,
just because that's kind of the big shtick is, and that's why I only sign up for Marvel Unlimited
anytime a new movie comes out.
every once in a while, it's because it's 6 months you have to wait for like the newer comics to come out. So I pretty much wait for an arc to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wait 6 months, and then I read the arc.
Yeah.
So it's like when something new happens with Spider-Man, I'm like, okay, I will wait, until this one's done, then I'll have 6 months. Because like issue 800 of Spider-Man came out where.
Holy cow, we're at issue 800 already.
Yep.
So Norman Osborn found the Carnage symbiote. And Red Goblin, the whole thing, and I'm like, and it's Dan Slott's last comic writing Amazing Spider-Man, so it was kind of like this big hurrah, like send-off thing.
I honestly don't know who that is. I'm so
far behind,
out of date with Marvel. It doesn't matter.
But that's the thing. You and me both.
But that's the thing is, like, for me with Spider-Man, I can now wait 6 months because the comic just came out, and I can read that whole arc, even though I know essentially what happens.
Yeah, like the internet's pretty big when it comes to. Oh, remember when Captain America became evil?
Yeah, I called that one like as soon as it happened.
Yeah, they weren't going to keep that character evil.
As soon as you figure out that it had to do with the cosmic cube, I'm like, so someone changed like what you're telling me is someone just zooped a bunch of things.
Yeah,
the Red Skull wanted his way, and so he changed time.
He did. He like that's exactly what happened. I'm like, so what's gonna happen is like Steve Rogers is gonna fight his way from the past and get back to the he's essentially gonna pull Back to the Future on us. He did.
Okay.
And it's like,
And now you have a Hydra Cap, and then you have a regular Cap.
That was even like when Superior Spider-Man came out with Doc Ock, and I'm like, so
that was at least written pretty well.
It was written really well. The problem was, I'm like, so Spider-Man's gonna be like, you read the first comic, and there's Peter Parker's consciousness like
still
inside his head, and I'm like, so they're gonna have a big fight, and Peter Parker's gonna win. And to their credit, they had the big fight, and Doc Ock won. And I'm like, oh damn.
Okay.
Like, kudos, Marvel.
Yeah.
And so, like, they pulled the switcheroo on me, and then to get his mind back, essentially what was going to happen was Green Goblin had a woman tied to a train track, essentially, like, you know, old twisty, like, evil villain type stuff.
You need to sacrifice yourself.
And it was Spider-Man was essentially, like, Doc Ock would have had to swing down, like, saved her and getting hit by a train.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I can't do that. Like, my mind says, let the one person die. You know, I'm more important than the one person.
I can save more lives.
Do this, but morally, the right thing to do is save the superhero thing to do is save the woman. What do I do? And Peter's like, I can do it. Like he finally materializes back from wherever Doc Ock sent him to, and he's like, I can. Like if you give me my brain and body back, I'll do this. And then he swings in and does it, and Doc Ock's like, you are the superior Spider-Man. And then the webhead goes in, saves the girl, comes back up, makes some quippy line at Green Goblin, who has been beating the other Spider-Man up till this point, makes the quippy line, and all the faces on Green Goblin is like, oh shit, you're back. Like, it's you. Mm-hmm. I'm screwed. And you're like, yes. So yeah, Superior Spider-Man, cool run, just you kind of knew what was gonna happen in the long run. Spider-Man shot someone along the line, so I mean, it turned out to be a really weird storyline. Better than all the Spider-Verse junk.
He got really brutal.
Well, he did, and then Jameson's like, see, this is the Spider-Man we need. Shoots a guy in the middle of a subway station, just boom, and he's like, there, he won't be doing anything anymore. Jameson's like, yeah.
Spider-Man's shooting people. Not a menace anymore.
The right kind of menace now.
He and Punisher really should get back together.
Either way, moving on. Reddit had a fun thing happen this last week.
So if you're not familiar, Reddit, there was a subreddit called Thanos Did Nothing Wrong.
Which he didn't.
He didn't do anything wrong.
He's a problem solver, man of action.
Explain a movie very badly. A giant purple alien wants to solve universe hunger by using...
Spoiler alert!
By using 6 magic stones to solve world universe hunger. Did it.
See, and here's...
Had one job.
So,
did it.
So Kevin Feige also, they're like, did all the animals, like half of them died too?
That.
And he's like, yeah, all animals and plant life, half gone. And everybody's like, well, then how does that solve world hunger? If
it doesn't actually...
plant life disappeared too. And I'm like, Kevin doesn't know what he's talking about.
Animal
Dude's
life
just high on power. Animals, yes.
Yeah, animals makes sense.
Plant life, though, dying, I don't quite...
Because that's kind of where everything happened. I mean, that's why Thanos has to become a farmer now.
Exactly! Someone's got to grow all the corn.
Even animals, I'm not sure if you need to kill half of them off.
I don't know.
I think it's just...
See, I think his statement of killing off, or not killing off, but removing half of all sentient life is the more correct statement.
I think so.
That's why Groot went, for sure. Mm-hmm. Right? Spoilers. Right. But yeah, so Reddit,
either way, on
Thanos did nothing wrong subreddit. Yes. It's basically just a place to talk about internet memes and Thanos-related stuff.
Yeah, it's our place to pledge our allegiance to the almighty Thanos.
Yes.
Yeah.
Duh. So they started getting really, really big. They started having a discussion amongst the community. Hey, so what happens when we get too big? Well, let's just ban half the users.
Right.
When it gets
keep everything perfectly balanced.
Perfectly, as all things should be. So they started picking up more and more steam. They started thinking, hey, we can actually do this. Mm-hmm. And then, lo and behold, there was 650,000 subscribers to the subreddit before the day before it happened.
Yeah. So the Reddit admin got on board because the problem was they could only ban people who had commented and posted. And the problem with banning half the people who comment and post is that all of a sudden your subreddit dies because there's no one commenting or posting anymore.
There's a lot of lurkers.
Yeah.
There usually is.
So Reddit got on board and was like, we know who's subscribed to this subreddit. Right. We can make things happen.
And so they literally had a live stream of them running the code to banning half the people, basically. And so it's like watching this list of people going up and down. Like,
3 hours of names.
Was that your name? Was that my name? Was that my name?
Yep. 3 hours of names going up. It took 3 hours to ban everybody.
That's
so half of everybody.
Half of everybody, sorry.
Half of everybody.
Half of the subreddit. 3 hours. Well, because it literally was like name.
And I think it said snapped, right? Snap something.
Yeah, someone has been snapped. Yeah. Someone has been snapped. Either way, once that happens, people were supposed to quit the subreddit.
Like
unsubscribe, and then they were supposed to
know who you are.
Into the Soulstone.
Which is another subreddit.
Which is the other subreddit.
The theory.
The ones that were saved went.
I think the best part is also with Josh Brolin being so in with it.
Yep.
He made a real short video of like, let's do this, Reddit.
Yeah. And you honestly know that as soon as this got big and gained traction in certain news outlets, that Marvel PR was like,
we should get on. This is free PR. This is free PR.
Yeah, they're like, Russo's, go make Reddit accounts. And they're like, yes.
I think they have. I'm sure they have them before.
I think they've done Ask Me Anythings on Reddit.
So it's like basically go sub and do this. And I'm sure that some math somewhere is like, if one gets banned, you have to keep the other. Because that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, perfectly balanced. The funniest part to Josh Brolin was he's in bed without a shirt on. Like, clearly on a cell phone, just like, you know.
He used the wrong hand.
Well, and I'm sitting there laughing because it's like someone clearly called you from Marvel PR was just like, Josh, say this and snap.
Do it now.
Now. And like, it's like, well, I just woke. We don't care. Because everybody's like, even everybody on the subreddit's like, he's graced us with his presence and his shirtlessness. Like, oh my.
And like, not just his shirtlessness, but his post Deadpool 2 shirtlessness. Yeah. So
it is the summer of Brolin.
Dude's cut now.
I know.
It is the summer of Brolin between Deadpool and Infinity War, Cicero 2 or whatever that movie is called.
Cicero 3, yeah.
No, it's 2. Whatever.
Two.
That weird. Yes, he's in everything this summer.
I'm okay with that. Josh Brolin, pretty cool, yo.
Yeah, he's pretty all right.
Josh Brolin 100% sold me with Men in Black 3.
That's right.
He was so good on
I didn't realize he was in Men in Black 3. I had to rewatch it after they announced him being Thanos.
I have never seen an actor do such a good job of being another actor before.
Be Tommy Lee Jones.
He was Tommy Lee Jones.
Be Tommy Lee Jones.
Like, Josh Brolin is just good.
Like, I don't know where he came from. Like, he started, like...
I think the first thing that I saw him in was Jonah Hex, which is a really terrible first thing to see.
I've never seen that movie. I refuse.
Don't bother.
I refuse to.
But then I'm sure I've seen him in other things before I started recognizing the name.
He has fun though.
But yeah, like then I saw him in Men in Black 3 and the American remake of Old Boy, and I was like, damn, this guy can act.
Like, he has fun, because even when he does interviews, it's like he called Mark Ruffalo and was like, how much fun is it being the Hulk? Like, running around in the weird mocap suit. And that.
I guess I was one person who would know that.
He did. Like, he's like, is it worth it? Or do you just feel like an idiot? And Mark Ruffalo was like, no, super fun. Like, you get to be the Hulk without actually having to be the Hulk. It's pretty cool. So that was their biggest thing, was all the actors are like, it was really hard. Like, Elizabeth Olsen was talking about, you know, her scene in the movie where she kind of goes up against Thanos, and she's like, that was really hard because all it is Josh Brolin with this big headpiece and a hockey glove walking towards you, and you're supposed to be like, ah! When really you're just like And then his headpiece gets caught in branches in the trees, and he's like...
I want to see the extras for that movie so bad.
Pre-visual effects, just like Josh Brolin, like... stuck in trees. The Mad Titan just actually pissed off.
I will snap this tree out of existence!
I really hope that in the gag reel for Infinity War, there's just like a good 30-second at least montage of Josh Brolin getting caught on things.
On things with
or just falling down because it's too top heavy and he falls over.
Well, so that's the thing is, like, he called Mark Ruffalo, was like, was it fun? Like, I don't want to do it if it's not going to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
And Mark Ruffalo was like, no, absolute blast. Like, do it. Because even you see Mark Ruffalo on set in the stupid polka dot suit, and you're going,
love
like,
it.
And he does. He looks like he's having fun. But Josh Brolin seems to with the movies he does, even if they're serious movies. He seems to do them because it's like, that sounds like it'll be cool. I'll do it.
Okay, I respect that.
Me too, and that's my thing is, I hate it when actors just take jobs because they need money.
I wonder how that conversation was with James Spader, though, with Ultron, because it was basically the same thing. Spader was in a giant Ultron-like bodysuit.
Yeah, the head was up here on with a tennis ball or whatever that you were supposed to look at.
Because I really want Ultron back in some capacity.
I loved Ultron.
I feel like there was some more to that character that they weren't able to show.
See, and that was part of the...
Because he's basically the Marvel's version of
yes.
From Superman's homeworld.
Yes.
The robot from Injustice 2. He's the villain. I can't remember his name. But
Black Mantis?
No.
That's all I got.
No.
Cyborg?
No.
That's all I got.
Hold on.
Moving on.
Either way, but yeah, like, that's the thing is, Marvel at that point with Ultron was still not just Kevin Feige under control. They still had other, like, Disney executives who were like, this is what sells toys, and this is what we have to put in the movie, and this is what we have to do, and like, there was still this Disney oppression coming down of like, this is what you need to do, which is why we didn't get the exact movie that Joss Whedon wanted to show us, which is a shame.
Yeah.
Like, instead of certain scenes, we got, Thor having a bath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which didn't really need to be in the film. So we got that scene instead of other stuff we could have gotten. And I think we could have gotten a better Ultron. And yeah, I think it would be, like, it's not like Ultron's out of the question to come back.
I'm still very much like he is in the
he's in the source code of Vision somewhere.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, that's who they bring him in.
Well, and we know that Shuri did some copy-paste work. And, so if...
Maybe that starts infecting into Wakanda or something.
Yeah.
And then the Ultron bots get vibranium again.
For realsies this time.
They didn't have to, like, steal it from anyone. It was just there.
Either way, yes, Reddit snapping, so yeah. I got snapped. Brian, I don't think got snapped.
I'm not on Reddit,
no.
So there you go.
I'm safe.
But are you, though?
I don't exist to
we got saved.
We're fine. And now that subreddit in the Soulstone, they're talking about making it 100% private. I'm torn on that.
There's a way to make it private, but still make exceptions if people got banned from, like, get the list of people banned.
Yeah.
You can make exceptions. So if they want to join the subreddit, they can, but other people can't.
But that violates the sanctity of it all.
Well, no. So, like, if you got banned from Thanos Did Nothing Wrong,
yeah.
you can still join into the Soulstone. Otherwise, you can't join it.
Oh, yeah.
That's the shtick.
Because, yeah, so there are still people who have not yet unsubbed from it.
See, that's the problem, is people have since subbed to the subreddit, and they're like, well, that's not right. We should make our subreddit private. And then they're like, well, it's not like Thanos snapped babies out of existence. Like, people can still procreate. So our subreddit can still grow. Into the Soulstone is screwed, because, you only get those that he snapped and done.
Yeah.
So it's like... Yeah,
oh my god! I was talking with my significant other about this the other day, or she was talking about, like, oh man, that would have sucked with having, like, you were pregnant, your mother, you're giving birth to your baby, and your baby disappears. What do you do? I'm like, what if the mom disappeared?
Baby.
And she's like, oh my god. What if the mom was the one that disappeared?
I'm telling you right now, Gwyneth Paltrow. Tony Stark going to be super pissed.
I'm thinking so as well. I'm very much on that belief.
Yeah.
I did get to... we can get to that.
Either way.
Yeah, let's move on to the next
Last
piece.
but not least, Indiana Jones 5 has its release date moved.
I still don't need it.
I didn't realize they were doing a 5.
I knew. It's Disney. They picked up LucasArts or Lucasfilm.
What's his name? The guy who wrote Solo.
Okay.
And his son.
Okay.
Also helped write Solo. They're writing Indiana Jones 5.
Okay.
So they're some of the original writers of Indiana Jones. So they are doing a 5th Indiana Jones film. I'm just hoping they don't go with the...
Shia LaBeouf.
Well, he's out.
Shia LaBeouf.
But I hope they don't go young Indiana. Like, I hope they don't solo route this. Like, give Indy one last movie that's actually decent. So
it's too early to tell right now.
Because even Indiana Jones 4, it was funny. They wanted Sean Connery back, and he had since retired. And he goes, "Well, if the script's good enough and I'm in it enough, like I'll come back."
And then he saw.
And clearly, they sent him the script, and it was not good enough. So Sean Connery wasn't in it. So you're sitting there going, "I want them to write a script that even if Sean Connery's not in the movie, at least he goes, I'd be in this." You know?
Yeah.
And they gotta go.
Would be even better is if they wrote a script where he came back anyway.
And actually,
and then it's like, I'm seeing this.
Yeah.
That's your draw, is the one cameo from Sean Connery.
You know what? If they managed to get a script together that got Sean Connery in that movie
and Harrison Ford,
that would
same
bring
sequence.
So many people to that theater
Sure.
to see a return of Sean Connery on the screen after so many years.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest issue with Indy 4 was too much CGI and bad CGI. Let's face it. Instead of just doing that was the best part of the old Indy movies was all the practical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's sliding under a tank. Well, all of a sudden the whip comes out and he's being dragged by it. It's a legit guy being dragged by it. Not Ford.
Being chased by a giant boulder.
Sure.
Which might have been foam. Doesn't matter.
Well, they were.
Scary as shit.
It's stunt stuff. But still, it's all legitimate stunt stuff. In this movie, you get the 2 cars driving through the forest with the sword fight going on, and then Shia LaBeouf's all of a sudden on a bunch of CGI vines with a bunch of CGI monkeys.
Which I think...
It looked bad.
It looked bad.
Which I think, though, if the track record with Star Wars 7 and 8 have been... I don't think you're going to be disappointed.
And that's my shtick
they will go practical as much as they need to.
If Disney's in charge at this point, it's like, do me one solid movie, please. Give me one more. And Harrison Ford can still act, as we saw in Star Wars.
Yes.
Because that was my worry. I saw Indiana Jones 4 and I went, oh, he's lost it. He's just old and he's lost it.
He's doing buddy cop movies now.
Well, but even his buddy cop movies, it was still Harrison. Harrison Ford has swagger, a certain amount of swagger that only Harrison Ford has, which is why, Solo, I was like, I don't know, because you're not Harrison. Harrison Ford is Harrison Ford. He can play the president. You're still what a badass.
Mm-hmm.
He plays the buddy cop movie with Josh Hartnett. I think that one was. Yeah. He's still a badass because he's Harrison Ford.
You can't get.
All of a sudden, Indy 4 rolls around, and
He's useless again.
He's not a bad... even the lines he pulls, which is funny because, again, I watched, I think it's Plinkett review, and they took a line from the trailer where it's... Shia LaBeouf looks up and goes, I thought you were a teacher. And he goes, part-time, or whatever the line is. The line they used in the trailer, whoever cut the trailer, had Harrison Ford saying it like Harrison Ford. The cut they used in the movie was part-time. And I'm like...
It was poorly edited.
It was horribly edited. You're going, who picked those? If they've had... and I know it's a really small line.
But it was something that was noticeable.
But it's all of a sudden when you see them next to each other, you go, so he did act well. They just decided not to show it. Whereas, again, Star Wars 7, all of a sudden it's oh, he can still be... Han Solo.
Yeah.
Well, then he can still be Indy.
He's just old, grumpy Solo.
I'm cool. Indy was already grumpy to begin with. Old, grumpy Indy's going to be that much better.
Older, grumpier Indy.
Yeah.
And then if they get Sean Connery with them, they're just 2 grumpy old men.
Grumpy guys. You go get it. No, you go get it. I'm not getting it. You get it. That looks dangerous. Send the young one. And I honestly think your biggest thing is get Short Round back.
Yeah, I can see that. But properly, though.
Yep.
Don't shorthand him.
Ah.
I now really hope that it ends up being called Indiana Jones 5 Grumpy Old Men 4.
2 grumpy old men.
But that's the biggest piece is they brought in Shia LaBeouf, and I'm like,
Shia LaBeouf.
You didn't need Mutt Williams. He had a sidekick who would have been age appropriate and from the old movies, and he still could have brought in Marion. Like if you wanted to do that whole like we're gonna connect to the original movies shtick, but
you've got aliens. Instead, you got.
I don't kill. The aliens is fine.
Yeah.
They had God rocks and the Ark and the like. Aliens to me is cool. Again, the aliens looked like poop. Like again, the CGI really killed that film because they're like, we're filming on actual film, and I'm like, cool. Like they're gonna do things right.
Mm-hmm.
And then they added the CG. Like even the golfers at the beginning, I'm like, ruh.
Although the fridge sequence,
still love it.
So dumb.
But
so,
it's indie.
So perfectly dumb.
It's
it
Indiana
works.
Jones.
So perfectly dumb that exactly what I encapsulate.
The only person who could survive a nuclear explosion by hopping in a fridge.
Lined with
Indiana Jones.
Uranium. Oh, not uranium. Lead. Lined with lead.
But that's my
thing. The camera pans right to the thing that's lined with lead. This is going to happen.
The only person that could survive that is Indiana Jones. And if you want a MacGuffin it, he drank from the Holy Grail, and that gives him, a little extra oomph when it comes to surviving crap. But, like, out of all the things Indiana Jones has survived, it's like, okay with the fridge.
Seems legit.
Yeah, the fridge thing, I'm like,
that's
that
not
happened
the worst.
In the theater, and
he survived the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah, like, I'm sitting there going, like, the fridge scene happened in the theater, and I'm like, that was so bad. Like, that was indie. Good on indie. And then again, you get Shia LaBeouf swinging from vines, and I'm like, this is stupid. Like, who made this film?
It's been so long since I've seen it. I've forgotten most of it,
and
thankfully.
And then you hear more stuff, and Steven Spielberg essentially ran a bunch of ideas past George Lucas 8,000 years ago when they did the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And George Lucas was like, you should do this, and this, and this, and Steven's like, no. That's stupid. And then I think Steven Spielberg got like old and lazier because all the ideas that Lucas had 30 years ago or whatever it was, all of a sudden he's like, those sound good. And they used them. And I'm like, so George Lucas ruined Indiana Jones then too, huh?
Weird. George Lucas is a really good guy to have around for these things when he's got a team of people to rein him in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, because that's the original trilogy was people going, George, this is a good idea.
But
maybe if we did this.
Like, he sounds like he's a great person to have in, like, the brainstorming room.
Yep.
He's got a lot of
go from there.
He's got a lot of insight on that universe that he's created.
Because it's even the Clone Wars. Like, a lot of that was his stuff that people took and...
Well, and I think that, like, I watched some of the like, commentaries and behind-the-scenes stuff and whatnot, and I think it was, like, beginning of Season 2 or something is when they got George Lucas on board, and you can really tell that the show starts to take off after Season 2. Like, there was an obvious point about halfway through Season 1 where they were like, you know what? Whatever we're doing with the soundtrack is just not working, and then they gave it a more Star Wars-y soundtrack, and I was like, holy cow, this is Star Wars now and not whatever it was before. But then, from the last episode of Season 1 where they introduced Cad Bane into the universe, and then into Season 2 is when the story really comes together, and George Lucas was in for that. So obviously, like, he's got a lot of insight into the universe, a lot of good ideas for story. He just needs a dedicated team of people to rein those ideas in and be like, okay, we've got the building blocks, let's mold it into something that works.
Bye, George.
Thanks.
You can leave now.
No. There's a really good comedy sketch talking about George Lucas and his crazy ideas for episodes 7 and 8.
Well, but and that's the big piece is you look at the prequel trilogies and that's you have people that can act because I have seen them do it.
Natalie Portman and Ian McGregor are both excellent.
See, and Ewan McGregor still wins as Obi-Wan Kenobi because he just gave in to the
Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon was good.
Yeah,
because they gave in to the hamminess of it.
Liam Neeson did a good job.
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson, Mace Windu is
to be fair, Samuel L. Jackson's just playing Samuel L. Jackson, which is fine.
Yes.
But, I'm not going to consider him to be a particularly good or bad actor in that situation. You just gave Shaft a lightsaber and he's doing his It's not going to go wrong.
He's a little more of like a monk.
It's not going to go wrong. That one
gave Nick Fury a lightsaber, done.
Like, there was going to be no question about whether or not that was going to work. It just did.
Yes, but that's the thing. Like, Ewan McGregor studied enough of Alec Guinness's work to go like, oh, so even when he does the stupid Superman pose in episode 3, coming out of the thing, it's like, Yeah, you pulled that off. Because he does. He gives into it. It's like George Lucas is like, make a powerful stance, and he's just like, I know what you want. Like, dun, dun, and he's like, good? Yeah. Whereas the bunch of them, yeah, it was just like, Natalie Portman can act. Hayden Christensen, I would like for him to have a chance, I think. I've never actually seen a movie with him.
Not Star Wars related?
I never saw Jumper.
I did.
What was he in Jumper?
I don't know, a guy?
Yeah, a guy. A dude who could, like, teleport.
No, like, was he the villain or the main character?
I don't remember.
He was the main.
I think the main character.
But that's the thing
that
is,
movie was all right. I didn't hate it.
But that's the thing is, like, Hayden Christensen kind of got shafted because that was his first big role, and people look at it and go, well, he's not that good. Like, he never really got to make much of a name for himself when it came to...
Yeah, I'd really question how much of that was just him being the wrong choice for the role, and how much of it was the writing, because, like, let's be honest, that was a really angsty and whiny Anakin. And I know that you can kind of see a little bit of the apple didn't fall far from the tree, and...
I don't want to be a moisture farmer!
Exactly,
yeah.
but, like... That seemed a little bit
They went
extra.
Overboard.
Yeah, and he was creepy, too. Oh, my God, that was an abusive relationship between him and Padme. Emotionally abusive.
But I guess that shows that turned to the dark side kind of shtick, too. Like, in that piece. But it's funny, because even Natalie Portman, when she won her first Oscar, and you sit there and look at... Again, Phantom Menace was one of her first films.
Mm-hmm.
She thanks all these directors and people, like creative people, that have gone through her career. George Lucas, not one of them. And you sit there going, did 3 movies for the guy who pretty much kickstarted your career, and nothing. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know, creatively, obviously, there's something there. Yeah, George Lucas is a very creative guy. He just shouldn't be in charge of the actual creative part.
Which is the reason why 7 and 8...
He should be a creative consultant.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that's what he has on staff for.
Because even Star Wars, Episode 4, A New Hope, whatever you want to call it, his wife edited that film. And that was part of the reason they got divorced. Because he didn't like the edit she made.
It worked.
It built his empire.
Well...
I don't like this edit. Okay, when's your wife making another Star Wars movie? I want to see that one.
Are you bugging Echo?
Are you done?
Either way, with that, yes. Indiana Jones 5, July 10th, 2020. It was supposed to come out July 10th, 2019.
Yeah, that wasn't happening.
So, but they're in the stages of writing it at this very point.
I think it's going to be pushed to 2021, but that's just my thought.
And it probably might.
Realistically, Disney's got so much on their slate.
But Cass Sidon or whoever, like, they're the ones writing it.
Okay.
And they know how to write for Harrison Ford. So, that's kind of the only saving grace at this point, is they can at least make indie.
We'll have to see.
It's like all of these questionable ones. All we can do is see what happens.
Sit there and hope. Yeah. And like I say, Disney so far has yet to disappoint me on these fronts, so...
Like, seriously, anyway.
Seriously. Yeah. Like, again, Thor and Thor the Dark World, low on my totem pole of movies, but still better than most of the other junk that comes out.
The first Thor, I wouldn't mind rewatching that. That's a pretty good movie.
I've rewatched them all. Like my wife and I went through them all, but...
Thor's good. The Thor Dark World, I don't... No.
Loki's the saving grace.
Yeah, you're right.
Loki's arc is just fantastic. So
it's
emotional.
It's funny. It's emotional. It's that character. Even the Warriors 3 had a really good piece in the middle.
Mm-hmm. But that's the thing is, like, Disney has yet to actually disappoint me with any of these films, to the point where I'm like, I'm never seeing one of those again. Like, DC's at the point where I'm like,
you're on thin line.
I will go see Wonder Woman because you nailed it on Wonder Woman.
You're super on thin ice.
That one, but
I'm interested to see what Aquaman turns into.
Nope, I'm not anymore. Like, that's my thing. I just
stopped caring.
I'm done. Like, I'm like, nah, we'll see with Batman versus Superman, because Ben Affleck looks like a pretty badass Batman.
Which he was.
Probably yes.
And then I saw Justice League finally, and I'm like, parts of this were okay. And I get that that's the Zack Snyder, Joss Whedon, like, 50-50 split of things.
The latest thing on the internet is people wanting to see the Snyder cut of Justice League.
Yeah. But again, like, anything Zack Snyder's done for DC, I'm like, that's not Superman to me. That's not this character to me. That's not this.
Even Batman v Superman was real dark way darker for Superman than...
Too dark for Superman, good
Right
dark for
dark for
Batman.
Right dark for Batman. But Superman, no.
Well, they even had Paul Dini on Kevin Smith's podcast the one time talking about Batman versus Superman. He's like, it's almost like when we did the cartoon show Batman and Superman, the animated series. Like, Superman was light, Batman was dark, and there is a way you can mix the two if you have the right writers.
Not him. Not him.
Hint.
They wanted Paul Dini as a consultant to work for free on the movies. Like one of the guys who pretty much wrote most of the Batman animated series.
The 90s TV shows?
When it's supposed to be one of the
Hello?
biggest blockbuster movies of the year, you don't say, hey, you want to consult on this for free. You say, hey, how much will it cost for us to make you make this movie good?
Yeah. Can you write this for us?
We're already on pretty thin ice from Man of Steel and...
Because Paul Dini wrote like half the Batman video games, a good portion of no, he skipped a couple of them.
Did you ever write Justice League?
He's done Justice League cartoons. Yeah. He's done the Batman Superman TV show. Like, the guy's been writing for your entertainment center forever, and clearly puts out good quality product.
Pay the man.
Who would have thought to get him for a full motion picture starring actual people that you're trying to bank on making good money?
Yeah,
because like
what's he gonna cost to creatively consult on this one? Like, even if you, I don't know what a reasonable amount of money is, but even if you offered him $100,000 to creatively consult for that movie, it's like, a movie that's gonna be raking in.
Because you look at the other one,
hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars,
if done properly.
That extra 100,000 is not gonna make a difference.
Because you look at the other side of the pond with Avengers, they got Joss Whedon, a guy who knows how to write comic books, to do a comic book movie.
Yeah.
That's why
that panned out so well for them, obviously.
And a guy that's written ensemble comic books too. It's not like he was working on just like an Iron Man comic where he's just focusing on Iron Man. He did X-Men where you're
writing for a bunch of people
and like named people. He was doing Cyclops and Wolverine.
I really do think when this whole Fox stuff settles and they get to do X-Men, I really do think they call Joss up. I really do think they do that.
Probably. I still think Kevin Smith should be involved in... I don't care DC or Marvel, but...
You want him on a movie.
I seriously think they should give him a shot at making one of these movies, because he has good opinions every time they make one of these films.
I absolutely loved the Kevin Smith written Green Arrow story arc that I read, and that's a Green Arrow I would pay money to watch. I do not pay money for DC if it's not Batman.
But that's my thing. Like, I sit there going, like, Kevin Smith, again, writes comics. Daredevil, Green Arrow. He's written for a bunch of stuff. Giant nerd. Like, name drops issue numbers when it comes to things. And goes, like, and even when he talks about the Marvel movies, he goes, I didn't care about Captain America growing. Like, and all of a sudden you put him on screen and I go, oh, this Cap I care about. Like, way to write. And I know he does a disservice to himself all the time. Going, I could have done something like that.
Come on, guys.
Like, he does downplay himself a lot as a writer and creator. But there's a reason Clerks and Mallrats and Dogma and those movies are what they are. It's because of what he's done.
And you know what? I think that he'd really fit well for a character with some comedy to him, because that's the Green Arrow that he wrote. So that's what I'm familiar with. With the Daredevil, like, I like my Daredevil a little bit darker.
Yep.
I like the Bendis and Brubaker run on Daredevil, but like, if you gave him something like an Ant-Man and Wasp movie to write, or just anything with a bit of comedy to it, I think he'd do great with Iron Man as well.
I'd like to see him do some like Guardian stuff, even like like
James Gunn's not letting go of
No,
Guardians.
he won't. No, James Gunn won't. But like,
What if they let him do like a Nova movie?
Yeah.
Like, that's my thing. Or throw him into DC, because he's like, he's a big DC guy. He knows all about the DC stuff, and it's like, just let him do one of them, please.
Yeah.
Like, you need more of these nerds to do more of these films.
And if you get one where there's supposed to be an aspect of comedy to it, you're going to get a comedian and you're going to get a comic book writer to do your movie. You can't go wrong.
But that's why Joss Whedon, I think, did such a good job. James Gunn, same thing.
Yeah.
Like, as much as he has changed certain characters, it's because he's like, well, 5 people, you included, read Guardians of the Galaxy. I can make some changes.
It's true.
To fit the screen. Because I know you hate Drax.
Yeah.
But
We won't.
but that's my thing, is like, he knows he can take certain liberties because he's like, people don't really know these guys well enough.
Mm-hmm.
But like Rocket and Groot, that whole thing is just
like
killer.
really, from what I've read, Groot's character is way more kind of happy-go-lucky in the show, or in the movies rather, compared to the comics. But for Rocket and Groot, for me, it was always about the character dynamic between them, and he just hit it out of the park with that.
Yeah. But again,
it's the Stewie
giant
thing.
nerd.
It's a Stewie thing from Family Guy, where it's like everyone can understand him, but no one else can.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
But like giant nerd who gets to make a movie.
Oh yeah.
And it shows that that's what's there. Like Thor was made by a guy who makes movies, not a comic book guy.
Deadpool with Ryan Reynolds.
Right. Like that's the thing. So either way, we diverged from our thing. But either way, that's the newscast.
Yeah, let's call it. We've got some audio stuff to deal
some dogs to deal with.
So if you liked what you saw here, come subscribe to us on our various multitudes of channels,
which you can find at barrelrollnews.com,
as well as social media feeds and
also available at barrelrollnews.com.
Everything. You know what? Hey,
just go to barrelrollnews.com.
www.barrelrollnews.com.
World Wide Web.
Yes.
We are on it.
Go into your URL search bar.
Yes, and stay tuned in another 5 minutes.
We go to the post-credit show where we talk about
games we've played, movies we've watched, and that kind of stuff.
Things we've done. We'll see you guys soon.
Bye.